Alfred, what is a shop steward? Please elaborate on who can be elected as well as the few basic responsibilities of a shop steward.
A shop steward, you're talking about someone, a worker here, because we're talking about a workplace, who is a representative of other workers in that particular workplace, having been democratically elected by the workers who are members of a trade union in any case. A shop steward has many responsibilities. He becomes the link between the workers, the members of the union, and the employer, and between the members in that workplace and the union itself, because he represents them in meetings that express issues that workers have mandated him to represent them on with management. He becomes the educator, he becomes the organizer, even outside of the immediate work environment. A shop steward, a COSATU shop steward in particular, is encouraged to become also a community worker, a leader in the community, which means you've got multi-responsibilities. You lead at a workplace, but you must also lead community struggles at the civic level where you live as well.
Okay. Now, let's talk about collective agreements. What is a collective agreement? How does it work? And why is it of importance to workers?
Collective agreements, here you're talking about what we call collective bargaining. When the unions and the employers engage in a process of getting into an agreement about the working conditions, wages, etc. for the workers. That is to be an agreement reached collectively, hence it's called collective agreements, because it also binds even non-parties, meaning that people who are in the same workplace. You do not say because Union A in this workplace represent 65 or 75% of the members. It's not usual that the union represents 100% of the workforce. Usually you have a percentage. But then even those who are not necessarily members of that union, because the union has a majority, so it's representative. So whatever the union agrees on with management, it becomes binding. It binds everybody, and everybody benefits. But you must differentiate it from what they call the closed shop agreements. But those are separate from but it's one part, a part of collective agreement, the closed shop agreement.
Okay. Talking on collective agreements, you mentioned that it also covers those who are not members of the union. Now, does that mean if, let's say, the majority union reaches an agreement with management that all workers will get an increase of a certain percentage, yes, does that mean all workers who are in that workplace will receive that benefit, whether or not they are members of that majority union? And what about the members of the minority union that may also exist in that workplace?
Exactly. It's because the minority union would not have a separate agreement which supersedes what the majority union has. And in fact, management negotiates with the majority union, not with the minority union. Hence, you have a situation that this agreement binds all the workers in that particular plant, in that particular workplace, because you cannot have two workers here who are members of the union in this department getting 8%. And now you say, oh, because there is one worker who's not a member of this union here, but they're doing the same work, they're at the same grade. And you're saying, oh, it means you can decide what you give them. No. That's why it's collective. It binds everybody in the workplace, in that what they call, in that bargaining unit. We talk about bargaining units in those cases.
So all workers benefit from that agreement?
All workers benefit from that. That's why some unions would go for a closed shop agreement, because the closed shop agreement basically means that whoever is employed by the company automatically becomes the member of the union, or they contribute their subscriptions to the union. Or else, in a situation where you don't have a closed shop agreement, you are a union with a collective agreement with this employer, you have 75% of the workforce. But unfortunately, the 25% who benefit from what you have negotiated, they are like free riders. So those who want to prevent free riders, they say, let's have a closed shop agreement, because anyway, we are the ones negotiating, getting improvements for the general workforce, even for non-members. Why can't they then contribute? But that's a separate issue.
Okay. Let's go back to shop stewards. Here's a scenario. You have a member of a union who happens to be a shop steward in the workplace, and a collective agreement has been signed with management, but now management is not complying. What can the shop steward do to ensure that management complies to the collective agreement that has been signed?
The collective agreement is a legal document. Management would not necessarily just out of the blue decide not to comply or ignore it. Then the union has to be involved. The mother body, where the members belong, there has to be negotiations, or yes, the union can call that company or that employer into order, but basically because it is signed, that's why I'm saying that becomes a legal document, which is signed by both parties. So there's no way that the employer can just ignore it. They would not.
So in a case where the employer is dragging its feet, let's say, to implement, the shop steward would then have to report to his or her union.
Exactly. Because the shop steward, remember, has a support system, the organizer who must regularly visit the workplace, who must regularly visit the members, because even though the shop steward may perform some of the duties of the organizer, but the organizer has a responsibility to the membership. So hence, he must assist, he or she must assist in that situation. The shop steward would obviously report. There would be things that employers ignore or don't comply. For instance, health and safety standards. You would find that those issues are actually part of the agreement, but the employer just decides to overlook or turn a blind eye on them, or when they're supposed to give people, say, hard hats or gloves or protective gear, and they don't. And the shop steward has a responsibility then to raise it with management or with the section supervisor. Why are you getting workers in risky situations when they are dealing with hazardous material, but they are not appropriately geared or dressed up? It can be solved at that level. But that's the area most likely that employers actually ignore.
Okay, as you may know, we still have workplaces that don't allow workers to join a union or even elect a shop steward to represent them. What does the labor law say about this, and what can workers do to change the situation?
Well, that is illegal. I mean, an employer who actually embarks on that kind of practice is doing that illegally. I mean, in South Africa, since 1994, 95, when our Labor Relations Act came into being, workers have a right to be part of or are covered in legislation. There are many other laws, Basic Conditions of Employment, Labor Relations Act, Skills Development Act, Occupational Health and Safety Act. There's a suite of legislation that covers each and every aspect of workers in a workplace. So an employer who has the attitude that his employees are not allowed to join a member or to be members of trade union, he's just exploiting the fact that those workers are ignorant of their rights. They actually do not know. It is against the law. No worker in South Africa does not have a right to belong to a trade union or to be a member of a trade union. So if the employer says, no, this is my factory, this is my place, my business, I don't allow trade unions, or I don't like trade unions, unfortunately tough for him, because it doesn't work according to what he or she likes as the employer. It's just the law.
So in such a case, what can workers do to be able to join a union? How do they get the employer to allow them? I don't know if I should say allow, or rather, how do they enforce the law that is already in place to say we are joining a union and we are going to elect a shop steward for us? For workers who want to do that but they don't know how to do that, what must they do?
It is usually these small, what you call fly-by-nights employers who like to actually embark on such a practice. The local office of the Department of Labor should be able to handle that. The shop steward or the representative talks to the organizer talks to the union at large, the general secretary or the leadership of the union. It can be a situation that can actually be easily sorted out.
Okay, so the workers, they can approach the Department of Labor, or they can approach the union that they want to be part of?
Either way, because let's say they don't have a recognized union.
Mm.
So, but there is a private approach, or some union, some organizer have already approached them, and the employers displayed this attitude of saying, I don't want trade unions in my workplace. Then those workers have a right to actually go to the Department of Labor and complain.
Mm.
Yeah. So the Department of Labor then would send its inspectors about the situation to sort out the situation.
Okay.
But even that union, the prospective union, actually it can do them good to be seen, to be fighting for the workers even before they are recognized, because the workers would realize that this union is the one that will fight for our rights and working conditions against this intransigent employer. So it can work well for the union, because it can easily now gain trust and confidence from the workforce, and they can join in numbers.
Okay. I'm asking this question for young workers who are new entrants in the employment market, and they're not really aware of how to go about getting a union or becoming members of a union. And here they are saying, we can see that there are certain things that are happening in the workplace, we are being exploited in such and such a way. can they come to COSATU, or rather COSATU affiliated unions, and approach them to say, we want to be part of your union? How do we do it? Can they do that?
Yes, the answer is definitely yes, because those workers may not necessarily have a union at that particular point in time, or they were just ignorant, or they did not even know that they can actually join a union. But surely one of them must have heard about COSATU, that there is a federation called COSATU. Then they can approach COSATU to say that we are workers employed at this particular workplace. We are very much interested in joining a trade union, but we don't know how. Then COSATU would take it upon itself, its organizing department, to actually dispatch someone to talk to them, or to direct them to the relevant union, depending, of course, on what sector they are in, as COSATU uses that principle of one union, one sector in that as its scope of operation.
Okay. And then lastly, would you encourage workers to join in a union? And if so, can you tell us the benefits of being a COSATU affiliated union member? What are the benefits of joining a trade union?
Of course I would, and I have done that in many cases, in many situations where I encourage workers. You simply ask them, in this workplace, are you guys having a representative union, or are you a member of a union? Some may say, oh, we are not allowed to be members, or our employer is very hostile, he doesn't like unions. And then you tell them that, no, it's your right to belong to a union, because that employer, you must know that one way or another is exploiting you, or will not be paying you the required level of wages, and giving you the best conditions, working conditions that you deserve here. So you need a union. So I would definitely encourage young workers, or people who seem not to know, and tell them about COSATU. COSATU has a union for you that you can join. And the advantages, of course, of belonging to a union is that you benefit from collectivity, because you are strong when you're united, and weak when you are alone as an individual. So collectively in your workplace, with the advantage of having other members or other colleagues in your workplace, you join and become members of the union, then the union bargains on your behalf. It's a win-win situation.
Okay, so you're saying that when a worker is a member of a trade union, they are able, it's easier for them to negotiate for salaries, to negotiate for better working conditions, because they're not doing it as an individual, but it's done collectively.
It is always a difficult task to be able to negotiate on your own. And actually, it does not happen. There is no forum where individual workers have to negotiate. And it's very easy for the employer to actually ignore you. You may say, hey, I think I deserve a raise. It does not even have an obligation to answer you. The employer can just walk away. But when you come as a united front, as a union, as a collective, then the employer is forced, listens to you, and engages. So being a union member is very advantageous, but being a non-union member is very disadvantageous. So you have to choose, do you want an advantage or do you want a disadvantage as a worker? I would definitely choose to have the advantage, which means I would join a union. More specific